Well, the financial regulatory reform proposals circulating on Capitol Hill make it easier for investors to sue credit ratings agencies. They could be sued even if they haven't committed fraud, which is the current standard in use. Standard & Poor's President Deven Sharma says the new standards could deter firms from issuing new debt and discourage new rating agencies to enter the market. He joins us now to talk about his counter proposals. Deven, great to have you here on Street Smart. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Carol.
So tell me, what is really your main objection and your concern here?
Yeah, there are two proposals we are saying. One, the current regulations mandate the investors to use ratings in making their investment decisions. And we are suggesting that take the mandate away and let the investors decide what ratings or what other credit risk benchmarks they want to use in making their investment decisions. And the other proposal we're saying, which the congressional proposal around liability standards, it puts a different standard on us than all other market participants. So, and as you know, the whole securities process works from beginning to end, involves many participants, and to have a different standard on rating agencies puts a great burden and onerous liability.
Some would say, after what we've gone through over the last couple of years, the last year, particularly in terms of the financial crisis and the ruin to the economy, would say that maybe we need to go overboard here, especially when it comes to the credit rating agencies.
Right. But if you look at we rate roughly about $32 trillion of debt. And of that, $2 trillion was mortgage-related securities. And clearly that's been a disappointment for us and for broadly for the
disappointment? Some thought it almost brought down the financial system.
And we've done a lot to sort of recognize some of the things we need to change there, and we've made a lot of changes there. However, $30 trillion of debt, which is almost, you know, whether it's the corporates or the sovereigns or whether it's the ABS, even in structured credit cards, they have continued to perform as one would have expected. So that has worked.
Let me ask you, because one of your concerns is you're worried that the new standards that's being proposed by lawmakers and regulators, that they could deter firms from issuing new debt. Some would say, wouldn't that have been great that when all these new interesting investment vehicles, mortgage debt, if you hadn't rated them, maybe we wouldn't have had this problem. Wouldn't that be a good thing?
Right. On the structure side, that also has the same implication on the corporate side. If you look at what the new regulation proposal is, the premise is that liability is a measure for accountability. Well, and it's
but why
really
shouldn't that be?
Accountability for us is through market. Whether we do our ratings right, it is through regulation.
But it didn't work. It didn't work over the last couple of years.
Well, the new regulations have just gone into place in 2006, and they became effect in 2007. So the new regulations have just gone into effect in a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. And to the point, what happens is the new regulation would propose that says anytime there's a rating change, we could be vulnerable to a lawsuit. Well, then typically it's the ratings at the lower end of the rating scale that is very volatile because they're more riskier.
But shouldn't you be accountable and possibly liable?
We should be accountable, and as you started off your this segment, we should be liable for anything that we do which is fraudulent. But if we have a set of opinions which ends up changing because of the environmental changings, that should not be held for a liability.
But help me out here, because investors look to your ratings, and obviously they failed us in the last year. So it sounds like you're saying, wait, we still can't be held accountable or liable for the ratings that we put forth.
Not at all. We're saying we should be held accountable, and in fact we do say.
But not liable.
And liable for things that we don't do right in terms of fraud, but as you said in your opening segment, or opening of the segment, but not because our rating opinions change or our views on the credit risk changes because the environment changes.